The world of espionage is shrouded in secrecy. It is a world of shadows and whispers. At its heart operates Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency. Tasked with protecting the nation's interests, Mossad agents operate in the shadows. They are the unseen guardians of Israel. Their operations are often daring, always secretive. One such operation, shrouded in mystery and controversy, is Operation Harpoon. Operation Harpoon remains a testament to Mossad's reach and capabilities. It exemplifies the agency's commitment to protecting Israel from its enemies. The year was 1982. Tensions in the Middle East were reaching a boiling point. The Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO, under the leadership of Yasser Arafat, had become a significant threat to Israel's security. Operating from Lebanon, the PLO launched numerous attacks against Israeli targets. These attacks ranged from cross-border raids to terrorist bombings, terrorizing Israeli civilians. Israel, determined to defend itself, decided to act. The result was Operation Peace for Galilee, a large-scale military operation into Lebanon. The objective to drive the PLO away from Israel's northern border and cripple its ability to wage war. However, within this larger operation, a smaller, more covert mission was being planned. This mission, codenamed Operation Harpoon, was specifically aimed at the heart of the PLO, its headquarters in Beirut, Lebanon. The PLO's headquarters served as the nerve center of its operations. It housed key leaders, communication hubs, and logistical infrastructure. Neutralizing this command center would significantly disrupt the PLO's capabilities, delivering a blow to its organizational structure. Mossad, known for its global reach and intelligence-gathering prowess, played a pivotal role in Operation Harpoon. Their mission to provide the Israeli Defense Forces with the precise intelligence needed to execute the airstrike effectively. Mossad agents infiltrated PLO networks, gathering crucial information about the target. This included the layout of the headquarters, the movements of key personnel, and the timing of their operations. The intelligence provided by Mossad agents was incredibly detailed. They pinpointed the exact location of Khalil al-Wazir's office within the PLO headquarters. Also known as Abu Jihad, al-Wazir was the PLO's military commander and a key target of the operation. Mossad provided the Israeli Air Force with the precise coordinates of his office, ensuring the airstrike's effectiveness. The success of Operation Harpoon hinged on the accuracy and timeliness of Mossad's intelligence. Any discrepancy could have jeopardized the mission and endangered the lives of Israeli pilots. The pressure on Mossad was immense, but they delivered, providing the crucial information that allowed Operation Harpoon to proceed as planned. Section 4, Operation Harpoon, a strike from the sky. With Mossad's intelligence in hand, the Israeli Air Force prepared for the daring airstrike. The operation required meticulous planning and precise execution. The element of surprise was crucial. The Israeli Air Force needed to penetrate Lebanese airspace undetected and strike the PLO headquarters with speed and accuracy. On a hot summer day in July 1982, Israeli fighter jets roared into the skies above Lebanon. Their target, the PLO headquarters in Beirut. The jets, armed with precision-guided munitions, approached their target with deadly intent. The mission to cripple the PLO's command and control structure and deliver a decisive blow to the organization. The airstrike was swift and devastating. Bombs rained down on the PLO headquarters, reducing the building to rubble. The headquarters, once a symbol of the PLO's power, was obliterated. The operation, a testament to the Israeli Air Force's skill and precision, achieved its objective. Section 5, the Shadow War. Key figures in the conflict. Prime Minister Menachem Begin authorized Operation Harpoon. Defense Minister Ariel Sharon was a key architect of the Lebanon War. Khalil al-Wazir, or Abu Jihad, was a prime target. His death was a significant blow to the PLO. Section 6, Aftermath and Implications, a turning point. The immediate aftermath of Operation Harpoon was one of shock and confusion. The PLO, caught off guard by the audacity of the Israeli strike, reeled from the loss of its headquarters and key leaders. The organization's operational capabilities were severely hampered, its command structure in disarray. Operation Harpoon marked a turning point in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It demonstrated Israel's willingness to strike deep into enemy territory to protect its interests. The operation also highlighted the growing role of air power in modern warfare and the importance of accurate intelligence in achieving military objectives. The operation remains controversial to this day. Critics argue that it was a disproportionate use of force that resulted in civilian casualties. Supporters maintain that it was a necessary measure to counter a dangerous enemy. Regardless of one's stance, there is no denying the impact of Operation Harpoon on the course of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The setting sun on the Nile, Egypt in the 1950s. The 1950s, a time of change. The world was recovering from a devastating war. New ideologies clashed. Nowhere was this more apparent than in Egypt. Gamal Abdel Nasser rose to power. Nationalism surged. The Suez Crisis loomed. Amidst this turmoil, a community faced growing fear. The Jewish community in Egypt, their history once vibrant and deeply woven into the fabric of Egyptian society, began to unravel. Dark clouds gathered. Uncertainty and danger became their new reality. Life for Egyptian Jews had long been a tapestry woven with both acceptance and discrimination. But the 1950s saw a shift. The winds of change carried with them the seeds of suspicion and hostility. The nascent state of Israel, established just a few years prior, became a focal point for rising tensions. The Arab-Israeli conflict cast a long shadow. Egyptian Jews, once seen as neighbors, found themselves increasingly labeled as enemies within. The shadow of fear. Persecution of Egyptian Jews. Suspicion morphed into outright persecution. Egyptian Jews faced increasing discrimination. Jobs were lost. Businesses were seized. Homes were confiscated. The government enacted policies that systematically stripped away their rights and livelihoods. Fear gripped the community. Whispers of arrests, disappearances, and internment camps spread like wildfire. The once vibrant Jewish community in Egypt began to crumble under the weight of fear and oppression. Families huddled together, whispering prayers in hushed tones. They yearned for safety, for a place where they could live without fear. Many felt trapped, their lives upended by forces beyond their control. The situation grew increasingly dire. The echoes of the Holocaust, still fresh in the minds of many, served as a chilling reminder of the potential consequences of unchecked hatred. A beacon in the darkness, Mossad's Operation Suzanne. In the face of this growing crisis, a glimmer of hope emerged. A whisper of a plan, a daring operation shrouded in secrecy. The Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, stepped in. Their mission, Operation Suzanne. Its objective to exfiltrate Egyptian Jews facing persecution and bring them to safety in Israel. It was a perilous undertaking, fraught with danger at every turn. But for those facing an increasingly uncertain future, it represented a lifeline. The Mossad operatives, operating under deep cover, infiltrated Egypt. They posed as businessmen, tourists, even aid workers. Their mission was fraught with danger. Discovery meant certain imprisonment, perhaps even death. But they persevered, driven by a sense of duty and a commitment to saving their fellow Jews. Section 4. Through the Desert's Eye. The perilous routes to freedom. Escape routes were carefully planned, each one a perilous journey. Through the desolate Sinai Desert, under the cover of darkness. Across treacherous seas, hidden on cargo ships. Every step was fraught with danger. Egyptian patrols, watchful eyes, and the ever-present threat of betrayal loomed large. One wrong move could spell disaster. Families were torn apart, forced to make agonizing decisions. Parents entrusted their children to strangers, praying for their safe passage. Young couples whispered goodbyes, unsure if they would ever see each other again. Each successful escape was a testament to their courage, their resilience, and their unwavering belief in a brighter future. Section 5. Whispers in the Wind. Challenges and dangers faced. The operation was a race against time. The Egyptian government, catching wind of the Mossad's activities, tightened its grip. Suspicions grew, security measures were heightened. Every successful escape raised the stakes even higher. The Mossad had to adapt, to find new ways to outmaneuver their adversaries. Their ingenuity and determination were put to the ultimate test. Betrayal lurked around every corner. Informants motivated by fear or greed could bring the entire operation crashing down. The Mossad operatives lived with this constant threat, their nerves stretched taut. Trust was a luxury they could ill afford. Every face in the crowd, every whispered conversation could signal danger. Section 6. A legacy forged in hope. The impact of Operation Suzanne. Despite the dangers, Operation Suzanne achieved remarkable success. Thousands of Egyptian Jews were spirited out of harm's way, given a new lease on life. They arrived in Israel, weary from their journeys but forever grateful for the chance to live in freedom. Their stories stand as a testament to the bravery of those who risked everything to save them. Operation Suzanne remains one of the Mossad's most daring and successful operations. It serves as a reminder of the agency's unwavering commitment to protecting Jewish people around the world. It's a story of courage, resilience, and the enduring power of hope in the face of adversity. The legacy of Operation Suzanne lives on, not just in the annals of espionage but in the hearts of those whose lives were forever changed by its success. Masters of Deception, the Mossad's legacy. The Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, has earned a fearsome reputation. They are known for their daring covert operations and ruthless efficiency. From hunting down terrorists to securing national interests, the Mossad operates in the shadows. Their actions often shape global events, even as they remain shrouded in secrecy. Operation Trojan, a daring gambit from the 1980s, exemplifies the agency's controversial methods. The operation targeted Muammar Gaddafi's Libya, a regime hostile to Israel and accused of supporting terrorism. The objective was audacious: manipulate the United States into believing Libya was actively orchestrating attacks against American interests. By feeding false intelligence, Israel aimed to provoke a U.S. military response against Gaddafi. This audacious plan would test the limits of deception and international relations. Operation Trojan's success hinged on a simple yet effective strategy: disinformation. The plan involved planting a fake transmitter within Libyan territory. This transmitter would broadcast messages designed to mimic Libyan military communications. These fabricated messages would paint a picture of Libya actively planning and supporting terrorist attacks. The U.S., intercepting these communications, would be led to believe in Libya's direct involvement in terrorism. The stakes were incredibly high. If successful, the operation would result in a U.S. military intervention against Libya, effectively doing Israel's bidding without a single Israeli soldier being put at risk. However, failure would expose Israel's hand in manipulating a superpower, potentially leading to disastrous diplomatic consequences. The success of Operation Trojan rested on the Mossad's ability to plant the fake transmitter within Libya, a nation on high alert against Israeli espionage. The details of this operation remain shrouded in secrecy, adding to the intrigue surrounding the entire affair. What is known is that the Mossad likely utilized a combination of clandestine techniques. These may have included using deep cover agents, exploiting existing Libyan assets, or even collaborating with opposition groups within the country. The actual placement of the transmitter was a logistical and technical challenge. It had to be strategically positioned to ensure a strong signal that would be picked up by U.S. intelligence. Furthermore, it needed to be disguised to avoid detection by Libyan authorities. This complex operation required meticulous planning and flawless execution, highlighting the Mossad's operational expertise. Section 4. The Libyan Phantom, fabricating a terrorist threat. Once the fake transmitter was operational, the Mossad began broadcasting fabricated messages. These messages were carefully crafted to create the illusion of legitimate Libyan military communications. The content often implicated Libya in planning and supporting terrorist attacks against U.S. targets. The messages even included coded references to specific targets and timelines, adding a layer of authenticity to the deception. The U.S., unaware of the Mossad's intricate scheme, intercepted these communications. The fabricated evidence seemed to confirm U.S. suspicions about Gaddafi's regime and its support for terrorism. The Mossad's disinformation campaign was working, pushing the U.S. closer to the brink of military action. Section 5. Operation El Dorado Canyon, Retaliation or Manipulation. In 1986, the U.S. launched Operation El Dorado Canyon, a series of airstrikes targeting Libya. The U.S. claimed that the bombing was in retaliation for Libya's alleged involvement in the bombing of a Berlin discotheque frequented by U.S. servicemen. The U.S. cited the intercepted communications as concrete evidence of Libya's culpability in the attack. The bombing raid resulted in significant Libyan casualties, including civilians. While the U.S. maintained that the decision to bomb Libya was based on solid intelligence, questions linger about the role of the Mossad's disinformation campaign in influencing the U.S. response. Some argue that the U.S. was manipulated into attacking Libya, based on fabricated evidence, serving Israeli interests rather than genuine U.S. security concerns. The bombing of Libya remains a controversial event, with many questioning the validity of the intelligence that led to it. Section 6. Echoes of Deception. The Legacy of Operation Trojan. Operation Trojan, whether successful or not in its ultimate goal, stands as a testament to the Mossad's willingness to manipulate events on a global scale. It highlights the potential for disinformation to shape international relations and the dangerous consequences of such deception. The operation also raises troubling questions about accountability and the use of intelligence in a democratic society. The full extent of the Mossad's involvement in Operation Trojan may never be fully known. However, the operation serves as a stark reminder of the shadowy world of espionage, where truth is often a casualty in the pursuit of national interests. It is a legacy that continues to fuel debate and speculation about the true nature of intelligence gathering and its impact on global events. The Syrian desert, a desolate expanse of sand and stone, held a secret in its heart. This vast, seemingly lifeless terrain was more than just an empty wasteland. It was a stage for a hidden drama that could alter the course of history. Hidden from the world, a clandestine project was underway, a project with the potential to reshape the balance of power in the Middle East. This secretive endeavor was cloaked in layers of deception and guarded with utmost secrecy. This was not just another military outpost or weapons depot. It was a site of immense strategic importance, a place where the future of the region could be decided. This was a nuclear reactor, built with the assistance of North Korea, and it was on the verge of going operational. The implications of this development were staggering, threatening to tip the scales of power. Israel, facing the prospect of a nuclear-armed Syria, watched with growing alarm. The intelligence community was on high alert, scrutinizing every piece of information with heightened vigilance. The stakes were incredibly high. The potential for a nuclear conflict in the volatile Middle East was a nightmare scenario that had to be prevented at all costs. A nuclear-capable Syria would not only pose an existential threat to Israel, but could also embolden other hostile actors in the region. The balance of power would shift dramatically, creating a new and dangerous reality. The specter of nuclear terrorism loomed large. The possibility of nuclear materials falling into the hands of terrorist groups was a chilling prospect that could not be ignored. In the face of this gathering threat, Israel turned to its intelligence agency, the Mossad, renowned for its daring operations and global reach. The Mossad had a reputation for achieving the impossible, and this mission would test their limits. The task was daunting: to neutralize the Syrian nuclear program before it could bear fruit. The operation required meticulous planning, precise execution, and unwavering resolve. This mission, shrouded in secrecy and fraught with risk, would become known as Operation Orchard. It was a high-stakes gamble, a bold move to secure the future of the region and prevent a nuclear catastrophe. The success of Operation Orchard hinged on one crucial factor: intelligence. Without precise and detailed information, the mission would have been impossible. Mossad agents fanned out across the globe, operating in the shadows, often risking their lives to gather critical data. Their mission was to gather every scrap of information about the Syrian reactor, leaving no stone unturned. They infiltrated Syrian government circles, cultivated informants, and deployed cutting-edge surveillance technology, ensuring they had the upper hand. The intelligence picture gradually came into focus, piece by piece, like a complex puzzle. The reactor, located near the remote town of Deir ez-Zor, was nearing completion, a ticking time bomb. Its design, strikingly similar to North Korea's Yongbyon reactor, confirmed the worst fears of Israeli intelligence. Time was running out, and the stakes were incredibly high. The Mossad's intelligence gathering was nothing short of extraordinary, a testament to their skill and dedication. They managed to obtain blueprints, construction schedules, and even the identities of key personnel involved in the project, a remarkable feat. This detailed intelligence would prove invaluable in planning the operation, ensuring every aspect was meticulously covered. This intelligence would prove invaluable in planning the operation, providing the foundation for a successful mission. With the intelligence picture complete, the Mossad turned its attention to the operational phase. This phase was critical, requiring seamless coordination and precise execution. This would require the expertise of the Israeli Air Force, renowned for its precision strike capabilities. Their reputation for executing complex missions with pinpoint accuracy was well earned. The operation was fraught with danger. Every step had to be calculated, every move anticipated. Any mistake, any miscalculation could have disastrous consequences. The stakes were incredibly high, and failure was not an option. The Israeli Air Force, working closely with the Mossad, began meticulously planning the raid. Every detail was scrutinized, every possible scenario considered. They practiced the mission countless times using sophisticated simulators, ensuring that every detail, every maneuver, was executed flawlessly. The simulations were designed to mimic real-world conditions as closely as possible. The pilots chosen for the mission were among the best in the Israeli Air Force, their skills honed through years of rigorous training. These elite pilots were selected for their exceptional abilities and unwavering focus. The operation required stealth, precision, and above all, secrecy. Maintaining the element of surprise was paramount to the mission's success. The element of surprise was crucial. The success of the mission hinged on catching the enemy off guard. If Syria got wind of the impending attack, the consequences could be catastrophic. The entire operation could be compromised, leading to severe repercussions. Under the cover of darkness, the Mossad agents moved with precision. Every step was calculated, every action deliberate. The night was silent, but the tension was palpable. This was the moment they had trained for, the culmination of months of planning and preparation. The operation was a success, but the world was left in shock. Questions arose and the international community demanded answers. What exactly had been destroyed? And more importantly, what did it mean for global security? The Mossad, as always, remained tight-lipped, their silence only fueling further speculation. Operation Orchard was more than just a mission, it was a statement, a clear message to the world that threats would not be tolerated. As the dust settled, the implications of the operation became clear. It reshaped the geopolitical landscape, setting new precedents for intelligence operations and national security. The future, it seemed, had been irrevocably altered. Section 1. The Hijacking Terror in Southern France. July 3, 1976. A sweltering summer day in southern France. The tranquility of a small town shattered. A bus filled with Israeli schoolchildren ambushed on a routine field trip. Gunmen, their faces hidden behind masks, stormed the vehicle. Children screamed, their laughter replaced by terror. The hijackers, members of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, barked orders. Their demands? The release of Palestinian militants imprisoned in Israel. The world watched in horror. News of the hijacking spread like wildfire. Parents, thousands of miles away in Israel, clung to radios and televisions. Every static crackle, every grainy image fueled their fear. French authorities scrambled. A nightmare unfolded on their soil, a stark reminder of global terrorism's reach. The hijackers, heavily armed and volatile, herded the terrified children into the schoolhouse. It became their prison, a ticking time bomb. The hijackers issued their demands. The stakes were clear. The lives of innocent children hung in the balance. Each passing hour amplified the tension. The world held its breath, praying for a miracle. Section 2. Whispers in the shadows, Mossad gathers intelligence. In the heart of Israel, the Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, sprang into action. The mission: gather every scrap of information, every whisper that could lead to the children's safe return. Agents fanned out across the globe, their identities shrouded in secrecy. They infiltrated terrorist networks, piecing together the hijackers' identities, their motives, their demands. Time was the enemy. Every second counted. The Mossad worked relentlessly, their analysts poring over data, their operatives risking their lives in the field. The pressure was immense, the weight of a nation's hope resting on their shoulders. Leads emerged, whispers of the hijackers' past, their connections to terrorist groups. The Mossad, masters of deception and infiltration, worked tirelessly. Their intelligence would prove crucial, providing the French authorities with the knowledge needed to plan a rescue. Section 3. A race against time, negotiations and desperation. French authorities engaged in a tense dance with the hijackers. Negotiations, fraught with peril, became the lifeline. Every word mattered, every concession a gamble. The hijackers, volatile and unpredictable, held the lives of the children hostage to their demands. Days turned into nights. Hope flickered like a candle in the wind. The world watched, captivated by the unfolding drama. The hijackers, growing increasingly agitated, issued ultimatums. Their patience, stretched thin, threatened to snap. The pressure mounted. The world prayed for a breakthrough, for a sign that the children would be released unharmed. But the hijackers remained resolute, their demands unwavering. The fate of the children hung precariously in the balance. Section 4. Operation Jonathan. The rescue plan takes shape. Behind the scenes, a daring plan was taking shape. Operation Jonathan, a high-stakes rescue mission, was authorized. French Special Forces, the GIGN, renowned for their courage and skill, were tasked with the perilous mission. The Mossad's intelligence proved invaluable. They provided critical details about the schoolhouse layout, the number of hijackers, their weaponry. Every piece of information, meticulously gathered, was crucial to the success of the operation. The GIGN trained relentlessly, rehearsing every possible scenario. The stakes were higher than ever before. The lives of innocent children rested on their shoulders. They prepared for the worst, hoping for the best. Section 5. Storming the schoolhouse, a tense confrontation. The day of the rescue dawned, heavy with anticipation. The GIGN, cloaked in silence, took their positions surrounding the schoolhouse. The element of surprise was their greatest weapon. The world held its breath. The assault was swift and decisive. The GIGN stormed the schoolhouse, their movements precise, their determination unwavering. Gunfire erupted, shattering the tense silence. The hijackers, caught off guard, fought back with desperate fury. Inside, the children huddled in fear, their young lives hanging in the balance. The GIGN, their training kicking in, fought their way through the schoolhouse, room by room. Their objective was clear: neutralize the hijackers and secure the children's release. Section 6. Victory and Aftermath. Freedom's Embrace. The gunfire ceased, the silence was deafening. One by one the children emerged from the schoolhouse, their faces pale, their eyes wide with shock. They were free. Operation Jonathan was a success. The world erupted in jubilation. The hostages, safe at last, were reunited with their families. The relief was palpable, the joy immeasurable. Operation Jonathan stood as a testament to the courage of the GIGN and the unwavering dedication of the Mossad. The hijackers, their reign of terror over, were either killed or apprehended. Justice, swift and decisive, had been served. But the scars of that day, the memories of fear and uncertainty, would forever linger in the hearts of those who endured the ordeal. Gerald Bull was a brilliant Canadian artillery engineer. He was renowned for his expertise in ballistics and long-range gun design. Bull's innovative ideas often pushed the boundaries of conventional weaponry. He earned accolades for his work but also attracted controversy. His pursuit of scientific advancement sometimes overshadowed ethical concerns, making him a figure of fascination and fear. Bull's career was marked by groundbreaking achievements in artillery technology. He developed advanced gun systems for various countries, seeking to enhance range and firepower. His expertise was internationally sought after, leading him to collaborate on military projects worldwide. However, his involvement with controversial regimes raised eyebrows and eventually drew the attention of intelligence agencies. In the 1980s, Gerald Bull embarked on his most ambitious project yet, Project Babylon for Saddam Hussein's Iraq. This project aimed to build a series of superguns of unprecedented scale and power. The potential range of these guns was alarming, posing a direct threat to Israel and other countries in the region. Intelligence reports suggested that these superguns could fire projectiles hundreds of miles, carrying conventional or even chemical warheads. The development of Project Babylon sent shockwaves through the intelligence community. The prospect of Saddam Hussein possessing such devastating firepower was unacceptable to many, particularly Israel. The potential for these weapons to disrupt the regional balance of power was undeniable. As a result, Project Babylon became a prime target for covert operations aimed at halting its progress. Mossad, the Israeli intelligence agency, viewed Project Babylon as an existential threat. The potential for a surprise attack on Israeli cities from such a distance was a nightmare scenario. The agency was tasked with neutralizing the threat posed by Gerald Bull and his supergun project. Preventing the completion of the guns became a top priority, requiring a daring and decisive operation. Mossad meticulously gathered intelligence on Bull's movements and the project's progress. They knew they had to act swiftly and decisively to prevent the superguns from becoming operational. The assassination of a foreign national on foreign soil is a complex undertaking with significant diplomatic risks. However, the potential consequences of inaction were deemed too grave to ignore. Operation Scourge. The assassination of Gerald Bull. On March 22, 1990, Gerald Bull was assassinated outside his apartment in Brussels, Belgium. He was shot multiple times and died at the scene. The assassination was a clean and professional operation bearing all the hallmarks of a Mossad hit. While Israel has never officially confirmed its involvement, many intelligence experts and historians attribute the operation to Mossad. The assassination of Gerald Bull remains shrouded in mystery. No one has ever been charged with the crime, and the details of the operation remain largely classified. However, the method of execution, the timing, and the context strongly suggest Mossad's involvement. The assassination sent a clear message that Israel would not tolerate existential threats, even if it meant taking extreme measures. The aftermath disrupting Saddam's ambitions. The assassination of Gerald Bull dealt a significant blow to Project Babylon. Without his technical expertise, the project floundered, and was eventually abandoned after the Gulf War. The removal of Bull as the mastermind behind the superguns significantly hampered Saddam Hussein's plans to develop a long-range weapons program. The assassination also highlighted the lengths to which Israel was willing to go to ensure its security. The incident underscored the volatile nature of the Middle East, where even scientific endeavors could become entangled in political conflict and espionage. A legacy of shadows, assassination, and international intrigue. The assassination of Gerald Bull remains a controversial topic. Some argue that it was a necessary act of self-defense by Israel, while others condemn it as an extrajudicial killing that violated international law. Regardless of one's stance, the incident serves as a stark reminder of the complex and often murky world of intelligence operations and the lengths to which nations will go to protect their interests. The assassination of Gerald Bull continues to fascinate and provoke debate. It raises profound questions about state-sponsored assassination, the ethics of eliminating perceived threats, and the use of deadly force in international relations. The incident serves as a case study in the shadowy world of espionage, where the lines between right and wrong are often blurred. The Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, is shrouded in secrecy. Its operatives work in the shadows, their missions often unknown to the world. Their objective to protect Israel from its enemies, no matter the cost. They are the silent guardians of a nation born from conflict. The Mossad's reputation precedes it. Known for its ruthlessness and efficiency, it has been linked to daring operations around the globe. From hunting down Nazi war criminals to disrupting terrorist plots, its reach is long, and its methods, often controversial, are effective. The agency's origins lie in the ashes of the Holocaust, a stark reminder of the dangers faced by the Jewish people. This history instilled a deep-seated belief in the need for a strong intelligence apparatus, one capable of anticipating threats and acting decisively to neutralize them. In the early 1960s, a new threat emerged, one that would test the Mossad's capabilities and push it to the limits of its mandate: Egypt's pursuit of ballistic missiles. The year was 1962. The world watched with bated breath as the Cuban Missile Crisis unfolded, bringing the United States and the Soviet Union to the brink of nuclear war. In the Middle East, another, less publicized arms race was brewing. Egypt, under the leadership of Gamal Abdel Nasser, sought to bolster its military capabilities. Nasser's ambitions went beyond conventional weaponry. He aimed to acquire ballistic missiles, tipped with chemical warheads. The prospect of a nuclear-armed Egypt sent shockwaves through Israel. The memory of the Holocaust, the constant threat of annihilation from hostile neighbors, these factors fueled a deep-seated fear within the Israeli psyche. Israel at the time lacked the resources and technology to develop its own nuclear deterrent, their only option to prevent Egypt from acquiring these weapons in the first place. The task fell to the Mossad. The Cold War cast a long shadow over the Middle East. The region became a chessboard for the superpowers, each vying for influence and control. Egypt under Nasser leaned towards the Soviet bloc, receiving substantial military aid. This alliance worried Israel, which relied heavily on support from the West, particularly the United States. The German scientists presented a unique challenge. They were not soldiers or politicians, they were civilians, albeit ones with knowledge that could tip the balance of power in the region. The Mossad, accustomed to operating in the shadows, now faced a moral dilemma. Could they justify targeting individuals who were not directly involved in hostilities? Could they risk the international backlash that would surely follow if their actions were exposed? The answer, it seemed, was a resounding yes. Section 4, Operation Damocles, a campaign of fear. Operation Damocles, as it came to be known, was a campaign of intimidation and targeted assassinations aimed at disrupting Egypt's missile program. The Mossad's primary targets were German scientists and engineers working on the project. Agents were dispatched to Europe, where they infiltrated German companies involved in the Egyptian missile program. They gathered intelligence, identified key personnel, and began a campaign of psychological warfare. Threatening letters were sent to scientists and their families. Packages, rigged with explosives, arrived on doorsteps. The message was clear: cease your work or face the consequences. The campaign of fear reached its peak with the assassination of several high-profile scientists. Section 5. The Price of Progress. Operation Damocles remains one of the Mossad's most controversial operations. It raised serious ethical questions about the use of extrajudicial killings and the targeting of civilians, even in the name of national security. The operation did succeed in delaying Egypt's missile program, but at a cost. The assassinations strained relations between Israel and West Germany, a country still grappling with its Nazi past. The international community condemned the killings, forcing Israel to deny any involvement. The Mossad, operating under a veil of secrecy, could neither confirm nor deny its role. Section 6. A Legacy of Shadows. Operation Damocles casts a long shadow over the Middle East. It serves as a stark reminder of the lengths to which nations will go to ensure their security, even if it means resorting to morally questionable tactics. The operation also highlights the dangers of nuclear proliferation, particularly in volatile regions like the Middle East. The pursuit of such weapons can trigger arms races and destabilize entire regions. The lessons of Operation Damocles remain relevant today. In a world facing new threats, from terrorism to cyber warfare, the line between right and wrong can become blurred. The Mossad, with its history of clandestine operations, serves as a reminder that some battles are fought in the shadows, far from the public eye. Mossad is Israel's intelligence agency. It is known for its covert operations. Mossad works in the shadows. They protect Israel from its enemies. Mossad agents are highly trained. They are experts in espionage and sabotage. The agency was formed in 1949. Its motto is, "By way of deception, thou shalt do war." Mossad's operations are highly classified. Little is known about their methods. They have been linked to many daring missions. These operations have targeted terrorists and enemy agents. The agency has a long reach. It operates globally to protect Israeli interests. Mossad's effectiveness is undeniable. It continues to be a force to be reckoned with. Fatih Shakaki was a Palestinian militant. He was born in Gaza in 1951. Shakaki became radicalized at a young age. He witnessed the plight of Palestinian refugees. Shakaki co-founded the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, or PIJ, in 1979. The PIJ aimed to establish an Islamic state in Palestine. They opposed the existence of Israel. Shakaki became a wanted man. He was targeted by Israel for his role in terrorism. He evaded capture for years. He continued to direct attacks against Israeli targets. Shakaki was a charismatic leader. He inspired many young Palestinians to join the PIJ. His influence made him a significant threat to Israel's security. Mossad tracked Shakaki's movements for years. They were determined to neutralize him. In 1995, they received intelligence. Shakaki was in Malta. He was traveling under an alias. Mossad agents infiltrated Malta. They established surveillance on Shakaki. They observed his routine. They identified his contacts. The operation required meticulous planning. Every detail was considered. They needed to ensure success. They also needed to avoid civilian casualties. The agents were highly trained, they were equipped with sophisticated technology, they were ready to act when the time was right. The pressure was on, the stakes were high. Section 4. Assassination, swift and silent. On October 26, 1995, Shikaki was in Malta. He had just left his hotel. He was walking down a busy street. Two men on a motorcycle approached him. One of the men pulled out a silenced pistol. He fired 5 shots. Shikaki was hit in the head. He died instantly. The assassins disappeared into the crowd. The operation was swift and clean. There were no other casualties. The Maltese authorities were caught off guard. They launched a full-scale investigation. They were determined to find the perpetrators. Israel never officially claimed responsibility. However, the operation bore all the hallmarks of Mossad. The world suspected Israel's involvement. Section 5. Aftermath, crushing the Hydra's head. The assassination of Fathi Shikaki was a major blow to the PIJ. It disrupted their operations. It created a leadership vacuum. The group vowed revenge. They threatened to retaliate against Israeli targets. However, their ability to strike was significantly diminished. The assassination sent a message. Israel would not tolerate terrorism. They would pursue their enemies relentlessly. This served as a deterrent to other militant groups. Shikaki's death did not eliminate the PIJ entirely. However, it significantly weakened the organization. It remained a threat. It was a shadow of its former self. Section 6. Conclusion, a legacy of shadows. The assassination of Fathi Shikaki remains a controversial event. Some condemned it as an extrajudicial killing. Others praised it as a successful counter-terrorism operation. The operation showcased Mossad's capabilities. It demonstrated their global reach. It highlighted their ruthlessness in pursuing Israel's enemies. The event also highlighted the complex realities of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It illustrated the cycle of violence that has plagued the region. It underscored the challenges in finding a peaceful resolution. The legacy of Fathi Shikaki and his assassination continues to cast a shadow. It serves as a reminder of the ongoing struggle for peace and security in the Middle East. It is a stark illustration of the high stakes involved. The Munich massacre, a chilling act of terror during the 1972 Olympics, left the world in shock. 11 Israeli athletes, held hostage by the Palestinian terrorist group Black September, were brutally murdered. Israel vowed revenge. Mossad was tasked with hunting down those responsible. This operation, codenamed Wrath of God, targeted the masterminds behind the Munich tragedy. Ali Hassan Salameh, the Red Prince, became Mossad's primary target. The agency was determined to eliminate him, sending a clear message. Ali Hassan Salameh, a rising star in the Palestinian Fatah movement, played a pivotal role in the Munich massacre. While accounts vary, Salameh was widely believed to have orchestrated the operation, selecting the target and coordinating the attack. His involvement stemmed from the escalating conflict between Israel and Palestinian groups, a struggle for land and recognition. Salameh's role in Black September, a shadowy offshoot of Fatah, remains shrouded in mystery. Some argue he was a central figure, directing operations and shaping strategy. Others believe his involvement was more limited, providing logistical support and safe havens. Regardless of the extent of his participation, Salameh became synonymous with the Munich attack, his name forever linked to the tragedy. Following the massacre, Salameh embraced a life on the run, constantly moving between safe houses and assuming new identities. His ability to evade capture made him a formidable adversary, fueling Mossad's determination to bring him to justice. The Munich massacre had transformed Salameh into a ghost, haunting Israel's national psyche and driving their quest for retribution. Tracking down Salameh became an obsession for Mossad. The agency deployed its vast network of informants, infiltrating Palestinian circles and cultivating sources close to Salameh. They followed a trail of whispers and rumors, piecing together fragments of information about his whereabouts. The hunt took Mossad agents across continents, from the Middle East to Europe, as they relentlessly pursued their target. Salameh, however, proved to be an elusive adversary. He was a master of disguise, changing his appearance and using aliases to stay one step ahead. He surrounded himself with a loyal network of bodyguards and maintained a strict security protocol, making it nearly impossible to get close to him. Years passed, and despite Mossad's best efforts, Salameh remained at large. Frustration grew within Mossad. The agency faced mounting pressure to fulfill its promise of revenge. The memory of Munich remained fresh, a constant reminder of their unfinished business. The hunt for Salome became a test of their capabilities, pushing them to their limits and forcing them to develop innovative tactics. Operation Wrath of God claims its target. After years of pursuit, Mossad located Salome in Beirut. He had become careless, believing himself beyond Israeli intelligence. This proved fatal. Mossad agents infiltrated the city, setting up surveillance. On January 22, 1979, Salome got into his Chevrolet. A Volkswagen packed with explosives detonated, ripping through the vehicle. The explosion sent a shockwave through the neighborhood. Salome and 4 bodyguards were killed instantly. The assassination marked a significant victory for Mossad. Section 5. Shifting Sands. The aftermath of Salome's assassination. The assassination of Salome sent shockwaves throughout the Middle East. The Palestinian Liberation Organization, or PLO, accused Israel of state-sponsored terrorism, vowing to retaliate. Tensions between Israel and Palestinian factions escalated, further complicating the already fragile peace process. Within Israel, the reaction was mixed. Some hailed the operation as a justified act of retribution, a powerful message to those who sought to harm Israelis. Others expressed concern about the long-term consequences of such a brazen attack, fearing it would only perpetuate the cycle of violence. The assassination also had unintended consequences. It created a power vacuum within the Palestinian movement, paving the way for the rise of more radical factions. Salome, despite his role in the Munich massacre, was seen by some as a moderating influence, advocating for dialogue and a negotiated settlement. His death removed a potential partner for peace, further dimming the prospects for a lasting resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Section 6. A Legacy of Shadows, Retribution, and its Price. The assassination of Ali Hassan Salome remains a controversial chapter in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It stands as a testament to Mossad's reach and determination. The operation also serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of conflict. The Munich massacre continues to cast a long shadow over Israel. It failed to bring closure to the families of the victims. Instead, it fueled the cycle of violence. The legacy of Operation Wrath of God is complex and multifaceted. The Mossad, a name that resonates with mystery and power, a whisper in the shadows, Israel's intelligence agency, shrouded in secrecy and legend. They operate in the dark, protecting their nation from unseen threats. Their work is often invisible, but their impact is profound. Their mission: never let another Holocaust happen. The memories of the past drive them forward, a solemn vow to protect their people. Sometimes that means taking the fight to the enemy, hunting them down. No mercy. They strike with precision, ensuring that threats are neutralized before they can cause harm. After the horror of the Holocaust, the world vowed never again. This promise is the cornerstone of Mossad's existence. But hatred doesn't die easily. It festers and grows, manifesting in new forms and faces. Terror groups targeted Israel, striking fear into the hearts of its people. The Mossad vowed revenge. They would not rest until justice was served. They would become the sword of Israel, delivering justice in the shadows. Their work is relentless, their dedication unwavering. In the silent, unseen corners of the world, they watch, they protect, they strike. 1972, Munich, Germany. The world watches the Olympic Games. Athletes push their limits, chasing glory, but on September 5th, joy turns to horror. A Palestinian terrorist group, Black September, attacks the Olympic Village. They take Israeli athletes hostage. The world watches in horror as the crisis unfolds. Negotiations fail. Gunfire erupts. When the dust settles, 11 Israeli athletes are dead. The world mourns. Israel vows revenge. The Mossad is unleashed. Prime Minister Golda Meir gives the order. Hunt them down. Eliminate them all. Operation Wrath of God is born. The Mossad will become judge, jury, and executioner. Their targets: the Black September terrorists responsible for the Munich massacre. The Mossad agents are relentless. They cross borders, disappear into crowds. They speak many languages, blend in, always watching. They will find their targets. No one is safe. Justice will be served. Section 4. Operation Chocolate, a dish best served cold. One name sits atop the Mossad's list: Ali Hassan Salome, the mastermind behind the Munich massacre. He moves like a phantom, always one step ahead. But the Mossad is patient. They will wait for the perfect moment. Operation Chocolate, that's what they call it. For months, they watch Salome, learning his routines, his contacts, his weaknesses. The trap is set. They just need him to walk into it. Section 5. The Beirut Blast, Justice Served, Beirut, Lebanon, January 1979. The city, once known as the Paris of the Middle East, is now a battleground of espionage and covert operations. Ali Hassan Salame, a man of wealth and influence, is living a life of luxury. He believes he has escaped justice for his past actions, feeling untouchable in his opulent surroundings. He drives through the bustling streets of Beirut, completely unaware of the eyes that follow him. The Mossad, Israel's elite intelligence agency, has been tracking his every move, waiting for the perfect moment. A seemingly innocuous Volkswagen Beetle is parked on the side of the road, but inside it holds a deadly secret, a powerful bomb, meticulously prepared for this very moment. As Salome's car approaches the Beetle, the tension reaches its peak. The Mossad agent, with a steady hand, presses the button on the remote detonation device. A deafening explosion rocks the street, shattering windows and sending debris flying. The once peaceful scene is now one of chaos and destruction. The car is quickly engulfed in flames, a fiery inferno consuming everything in its path. Salome is dead. But the question remains, is this justice or is it revenge? The line between the two is often blurred in the world of espionage. Section 6. Echoes of Revenge. The Munich massacre of 1972 left an indelible mark on history, a tragic event that demanded a response. Operation Wrath of God exacted a heavy toll. Many terrorists were killed, but was it justice? The Mossad, Israel's elite intelligence agency, embarked on a mission to avenge the deaths of the innocent athletes. Some say yes, that the Mossad brought peace to the families of the Munich victims. The operation was seen as a necessary act of retribution, a way to ensure that those responsible paid the ultimate price. Others argue that two wrongs don't make a right. The cycle of violence only perpetuates more suffering and loss. The ethical implications of such actions are still hotly debated. The debate continues to this day. Scholars, politicians, and ordinary citizens alike grapple with the moral complexities of revenge and justice. One thing is certain, Operation Wrath of God sent a message: terrorists will be hunted. The Mossad's relentless pursuit demonstrated their commitment to national security, no matter how long it takes. Time is no barrier when it comes to seeking justice for the fallen, no matter where they hide. The reach of the Mossad extends far and wide, across borders and continents. The Mossad will find them. Their mission is clear: to protect and to avenge, ensuring that those who commit acts of terror are brought to justice. The year was 1954. The Cold War cast a long shadow across the globe. Israeli Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion sought to buy time with a secret operation. Codenamed Susanna, it became infamous as the Lavon Affair. Unit 131 was tasked with bombings in Egypt, their mission to sow discord and create fear. But the operation's failure led to catastrophic blowback. The roots of Operation Susanna can be traced back to the early 1950s. Egypt, under the leadership of Gamal Abdel Nasser, was undergoing a period of intense nationalism. Nasser's pan-Arabist ambitions and his defiance of Western influence made him a figure of concern for Israel. The signing of the Anglo-Egyptian Agreement in 1954, which paved the way for the withdrawal of British troops from the Suez Canal, further heightened Israeli anxieties. Israel viewed the British presence in the Suez Canal as a crucial buffer against potential Egyptian aggression. The agreement, seen as a strategic setback, fueled fears that Egypt, emboldened by its growing influence in the region, might turn its sights on Israel. It was against this backdrop of escalating tensions and geopolitical maneuvering that Operation Susanna was conceived. The operation, masterminded by Israel's military intelligence, was a desperate gamble, a high-stakes attempt to manipulate regional dynamics in Israel's favor. Its objective was not outright sabotage or the infliction of mass casualties, but rather the subtle manipulation of perceptions. The bombings were intended to be symbolic, designed to send a message and sow seeds of doubt in the minds of Western powers. However, the plan was fundamentally flawed, predicated on the assumption that Israel could control the narrative and escape detection. This miscalculation would prove to be its undoing. The operation, set in motion in July 1954, began with a series of small-scale bombings targeting civilian institutions in Egypt. The attacks, though causing minimal damage, succeeded in generating an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty. However, the operation soon began to unravel, its delicate web of deception torn apart by a series of mishaps and miscalculations. On July 23, 1954, a bomb prematurely detonated in the pocket of one of the Unit 131 operatives in Alexandria. The explosion, though minor, attracted the attention of Egyptian authorities. A swift investigation led to the arrest of several members of the Israeli cell. Under interrogation, some members cracked, revealing the true nature of the operation and their affiliation with Israeli intelligence. The arrest of the Israeli operatives sent shockwaves through the Israeli government. The exposure of Operation Susanna threatened to unravel years of covert operations and jeopardize Israel's fragile relationships with Western powers. The scandal, quickly dubbed the Lavon Affair after Pinhas Lavon, the Israeli defense minister forced to resign in the wake of the disaster, became a symbol of the perils of clandestine operations and the high price of deception. The fallout from the affair would have far-reaching consequences, both domestically and internationally, casting a long shadow over Israeli politics and intelligence operations for years to come. The exposure of Operation Susanna sent shockwaves through the international community. The revelation that Israel, a nation that portrayed itself as a beacon of democracy in the Middle East, had orchestrated a false flag operation against Western interests caused widespread condemnation. The United States, already wary of Israel's aggressive foreign policy, expressed its displeasure, demanding a full accounting of events and threatening to cut off aid. The scandal also strained Israel's relations with Great Britain, further complicating negotiations over the future of the Suez Canal. The British, outraged by the targeting of their citizens and interests, demanded a formal apology and compensation for the victims. The Lavon Affair, coming at a time of heightened tensions in the Middle East, threatened to destabilize the region and push it closer to the brink of war. Domestically, the affair triggered a political earthquake. The scandal, initially suppressed by the Israeli government, quickly spiraled out of control, fueled by leaks to the press and accusations of a cover-up. The public, outraged by the government's deceit and the bungled operation, demanded accountability. The affair led to the resignation of several high-ranking officials, including Defense Minister Pinhas Lavon, who vehemently denied any prior knowledge of the operation and claimed he had been framed by members of the Israeli military. The Lavon Affair exposed deep divisions within Israeli society, polarizing public opinion and eroding trust in the country's leadership. The affair also had a profound impact on Israel's intelligence community, forcing a reassessment of operational protocols and ethical boundaries. The world of espionage is shrouded in secrecy. It is a world of shadows and whispers. At its heart operates Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency. Tasked with protecting the nation's interests, Mossad agents operate in the shadows. They are the unseen guardians of Israel. Their operations are often daring, always secretive. One such operation, shrouded in mystery and controversy, is Operation Harpoon. Operation Harpoon remains a testament to Mossad's reach and capabilities. It exemplifies the agency's commitment to protecting Israel from its enemies. The year was 1982. Tensions in the Middle East were reaching a boiling point. The Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO, under the leadership of Yasser Arafat, had become a significant threat to Israel's security. Operating from Lebanon, the PLO launched numerous attacks against Israeli targets. These attacks ranged from cross-border raids to terrorist bombings, terrorizing Israeli civilians. Israel, determined to defend itself, decided to act. The result was Operation Peace for Galilee, a large-scale military operation into Lebanon. The objective to drive the PLO away from Israel's northern border and cripple its ability to wage war. However, within this larger operation, a smaller, more covert mission was being planned. This mission, codenamed Operation Harpoon, was specifically aimed at the heart of the PLO, its headquarters in Beirut, Lebanon. The PLO's headquarters served as the nerve center of its operations. It housed key leaders, communication hubs, and logistical infrastructure. Neutralizing this command center would significantly disrupt the PLO's capabilities, delivering a blow to its organizational structure. Mossad, known for its global reach and intelligence-gathering prowess, played a pivotal role in Operation Harpoon. Their mission to provide the Israeli Defense Forces with the precise intelligence needed to execute the airstrike effectively. Mossad agents infiltrated PLO networks, gathering crucial information about the target. This included the layout of the headquarters, the movements of key personnel, and the timing of their operations. The intelligence provided by Mossad agents was incredibly detailed. They pinpointed the exact location of Khalil al-Wazir's office within the PLO headquarters. Also known as Abu Jihad, al-Wazir was the PLO's military commander and a key target of the operation. Mossad provided the Israeli Air Force with the precise coordinates of his office, ensuring the airstrike's effectiveness. The success of Operation Harpoon hinged on the accuracy and timeliness of Mossad's intelligence. Any discrepancy could have jeopardized the mission and endangered the lives of Israeli pilots. The pressure on Mossad was immense, but they delivered, providing the crucial information that allowed Operation Harpoon to proceed as planned. Section 4, Operation Harpoon, a strike from the sky. With Mossad's intelligence in hand, the Israeli Air Force prepared for the daring airstrike. The operation required meticulous planning and precise execution. The element of surprise was crucial. The Israeli Air Force needed to penetrate Lebanese airspace undetected and strike the PLO headquarters with speed and accuracy. On a hot summer day in July 1982, Israeli fighter jets roared into the skies above Lebanon. Their target, the PLO headquarters in Beirut. The jets, armed with precision-guided munitions, approached their target with deadly intent. The mission to cripple the PLO's command and control structure and deliver a decisive blow to the organization. The airstrike was swift and devastating. Bombs rained down on the PLO headquarters, reducing the building to rubble. The headquarters, once a symbol of the PLO's power, was obliterated. The operation, a testament to the Israeli Air Force's skill and precision, achieved its objective. Section 5, the Shadow War. Key figures in the conflict. Prime Minister Menachem Begin authorized Operation Harpoon. Defense Minister Ariel Sharon was a key architect of the Lebanon War. Khalil al-Wazir, or Abu Jihad, was a prime target. His death was a significant blow to the PLO. Section 6, Aftermath and Implications, a turning point. The immediate aftermath of Operation Harpoon was one of shock and confusion. The PLO, caught off guard by the audacity of the Israeli strike, reeled from the loss of its headquarters and key leaders. The organization's operational capabilities were severely hampered, its command structure in disarray. Operation Harpoon marked a turning point in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It demonstrated Israel's willingness to strike deep into enemy territory to protect its interests. The operation also highlighted the growing role of air power in modern warfare and the importance of accurate intelligence in achieving military objectives. The operation remains controversial to this day. Critics argue that it was a disproportionate use of force that resulted in civilian casualties. Supporters maintain that it was a necessary measure to counter a dangerous enemy. Regardless of one's stance, there is no denying the impact of Operation Harpoon on the course of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.